I am Iyobasa, Faith Ogunkoya, but very regularly and historically have gone with Faith Ogunkoya. And I am the manager of Black Student Success at McMaster University. So it's a very new role. And also then the manager of the Black Student Success Center, established, just very recently in September 2021. I have been at McMaster for a while, just over 4 years, working extremely closely with a lot of different departments, but predominantly within, how student success intersects with equity, diversity, and inclusion, that conversation and initiatives. Really exciting to be part of this conversation and celebrating Black History Month with, McMaster's Innovation Park and the 14. We're all aware of globally what took place around the world, just really centering around the murder of George Floyd. So the center is part of a 5-point action plan that followed, the university's review of the Black student athlete experience in October 2020. And so we like to honor, those brave voices who came forward with their experiences and prompted the university to do that external review. But we also like to extend that to give honor once again and homage to the fact that lots of faculty members, students, staff and community partners have been advocating, I would like to say decades, to speak to the unique needs of different groups, but quite specifically, that of the experiences and the needs of Black students and students of African descent at McMaster. So they've been really championing and advocating for a space like this, and it's one of the reasons why we exist. And we're excited to be present and to be at McMaster and to be doing great work with our students. One of the clear mandates that we have is to provide a safe space, for students. We are really here to look after the overall well-being. And our role here really is to champion what we call these specialized services that are customers to the needs of a Black student. So when we look at the vision of the Black Student Success Center, which is really to support the overall well-being, and in consultation with our students, talking to students, hearing them, having worked with them extremely closely as we birthed the center, we landed on some very exciting, suite of programs now in response, to what they said their needs were and what they wanted to see us prioritize. And so then, we've landed on some 4 or 5 initiatives to provide, one-on-one personal advising for students to have the opportunity to engage with the center really for any reason, to come in, hang out, to connect with one another, but to see a member of the team, to share how things are going, academically or personally or professionally. So we have one-on-one personal advising available, but we're also centered around providing wellness, access and support to be able to engage students and to hear what their needs are and to provide some really great access to Black student wellness programs, group sessions, but also one-on-one, with our trained expert counselors. And for that, we partnered with our Student Wellness Center to let students know that there are Black wellness counselors should they have a preference. And also financial and literacy skills, programs and services, as well as the opportunity to get dedicated support when you're applying to scholarships, bursaries, awards, knowing that these are the areas that students wanted us to focus on. We're thrilled to be able to provide, those opportunities. But something we're really excited about is we started a very popular In Conversation series. And this is where we feature fireside chat style discussions with prominent Black leaders, staff, alumni, community members that students can learn from. And we really wanted to ensure that the African style, wisdom of learning at the feet of our elders is embraced, and that's going extremely well. Our students have loved those events and series, and we hope to continue to provide them in the future as well. We all know that no man is an island and that you can't go on a journey alone and succeed. And very often we've got to work in collaboration and in powerful strategic partnerships. This also brings me to the fact that we are guided by Ubuntu, an ancient African philosophy. When it's translated from the Xhosa language, really speaks to I am because you are. And this is where you can really see emphasizing the importance of connection, that we're all connected to each other and that we all, ought to thrive together and nowhere without you, that we pull each other along, we empower one another, we use our skills and talents and position of power to ensure that the whole community is thriving. Right now, we're building these powerful connections and partnerships with community members external to McMaster, but also in-house. We've connected with a lot of different departments because we know that the services, that they provide are critical to our Black students' success. And hence then, we're not going to remain decentralized or insular, but really that we're now pulling together, our other departments' skills, experiences, expertise, building one another's knowledge, really in favor of ensuring that holistic support is provided to students. But this is where I also like to draw attention to the fact that we've got our leaders, we've got community partners, we have a lot of phenomenal and transformational people in key places of power and position. And it's really in understanding your role in Black student success that we hope to ensure that you see that we want you to use those positions of power to open doors of opportunities, to be able to advocate and to drive, policy change. But not just that too, but really the tangible opportunities and the doors that you can open when you think of a student and what their needs are. How can you help? How can you open those doors is really where we want people to continuously ask themselves those questions. And that's why we build connections with one another, with the departments, with community organizations and leaders, because with the student need at the center, we all need to continue and to build those connections that drive empowerment. So less about conversations and more about those practical and tangible open doors to get students those opportunities that they need to move forward. When you talk about identifying, issues, concerns, and type of supports required, you think about the response to that external review that I talked about that gave birth to the BSSE. When students shared about still feeling marginalized, or maybe being isolated, and talking about the impact of racism, talking about the impact of anti-Black racism on academic success, or on mental health, well-being, on overall achievement. This is where then we ask ourselves as a community, and also we had to ask ourselves, as the Black Student Success Center, how does that translate to what a student needs, right? So what are the issues? We got to now make sure that students see representation, that they see what's possible and what can be achieved. So we say to our community members, every opportunity you have to highlight Black student success, highlight Black success in general, that's going to be key to ensure that students continue to see themselves as excellent. They see you invested in their success, that you recognize that they're talented, that they bring gifts, that they have a purpose to fulfill, and they have a role to play in our society. Have that in your mind. You've got to listen to their voice. Very often, as community members and as individuals, we know what we need. We know where our needs are. So believe us, listen to us, and then build your response, your programming, organizations and funding supports in response to those needs. Let what we share with you drive and impact your decisions, right? So very often you can still see that there's underrepresentation in those positions of power. So when folks are around the table, you got to look around and say, Can we create a position for a Black student at this table so that they can bring their voice to that table? Can we ensure that it's not just one person, that we do have 3, 4, or 5 around the table, so that the person who is at the table and alone does not feel tokenized, right? That it's not on their shoulders to represent the whole community. Those are the things, that the type of changes that we want to see happen. So within the center, we are continuously sharing with students, board opportunities and vacancies, employment opportunities and vacancies. And we're empowering students about how to apply to further education, to professional schools, to internships, because we want them to take up those positions. We're teaching them how to access those opportunities so they have an opportunity to influence some of this change, that we're talking about. And so then, what's the support required? We need you to join forces with us, to build an ecosystem of Black student success. I want to see a network structured and formalized, where our community members are standing up to say, yes, we are going to intentionally create, positions, job opportunities, internship opportunities, board positions, and we're going to provide funding to support, centers like the Black Student Success, to continuously share opportunities with us that we can put in our students' hands so that we can see tangible change, and that in a year, 2 years, 3 years, we can see the increase in the number of students that are at medical schools, that are in professional schools, that have transformational internship opportunities that take them from A to B and help them achieve, success. And that the impact of racism on our mental health and our Black students' mental health is believed and understood. That's an area students have talked to us about continuously, that you need to know that they're in school, but when they see their peers or they see members of alumni, for example, arrested or not listened to when it comes to houselessness in Hamilton, there's an impact in the classroom. If I am a Black student, I have exams, but I see what is happening in my community, that affects me. That is what students are saying to us. Once again, I go back to Ubuntu, I am because you are. If you're unsafe, that makes me feel unsafe. And we can see the translation to overall, Black student mental health and those impacts. So in identifying the needs of the Black Student Success Center, transformational support is very often, in the form of funding, in the form of funding supports, in the funding of, donors coming to believe in the vision. So with providing students the opportunity to grow, so we're teaching financial literacy, we are, providing supports, increased, accelerated, really empowered support in the area of, supporting Black students with their mental health, opportunities for them to understand and to thrive and to be empowered when they're applying for bursaries, scholarships, awards. But, when I think about all of these great programming that we're providing, the fact that we're championing specialized, programs that understand the Black student need so that it's a response. The real vision here, what we're excited about, is building an ecosystem. And for me to describe that ecosystem, it means that holistically, we're bringing together powerful people. We're bringing together sponsors in every areas of the community. So employer partners, institutional partners, organizational partners, an ecosystem of Black counselors, because students are saying that's what we need. That's where the gaps are. People who look like me, who understand me, and can actually sponsor me, and when I say sponsorship goes beyond mentorship. There's a role for mentors, so that mentors can pave the way, can guide a student, can advise. A sponsor opens a door. A sponsor is an example of an employer saying, I'm going to create 5 internships that I know, will provide experience. It's a paid internship, but once again, provide a permanent position in the end. It's grad schools, what they're doing at the moment, bringing together pathways, for Black students who are applying. They're creating bursaries, they're creating scholarships. That is an ecosystem. Everybody's invested in a student's success. They're opening doors, they're providing tangible opportunities and move them into their areas of success, understanding what a student's goal is, what they want to achieve academically or professionally, but what's going to help them thrive. So partnerships are powerful in this. Standing up and saying, I'm going to open a transformational door. So these are the type of sponsors that we're looking for. This is what is going to help us change the trajectory of Black students to enable their success in exactly what it is that we're trying to build. And so these are partnerships. And Dr. Claire Warner and I, we talk about growing, from a center, having a building that is a Black Student Success Center building, a very large building that regularly brings together world leaders, that brings together these community partners that I'm describing, that brings together sponsors in the way that Black North, is an initiative that's rocking the Canadian landscape, the Black Onyx Initiative, where corporate Canada is being changed because Wayne Purbu and his wife Nigella said, look, we want to ensure that corporate Canada understands that there is a talent pipeline, that you cannot say you don't hire Black students because there aren't any of them, that there isn't enough talent for the corporate world. And they are actually proving that that is not true. And so the Black Student Success Center aspires to be also a world leader in this space, a global leader where there is a large center that brings together all of these partners that says we are going to commit that every Black student at McMaster University achieves their goal, what success means to them, because we have all of these opportunities laid out for them, and that we're all committed for that single goal. And mental health wise, there's a lot going on at McMaster that I am proud of. Lots of progress in the area of talking about mental health, making sure that our students have a connection, like I said, to Black wellness counselors. But we would like to see more diverse counselors that really represent, what our students look like and their backgrounds and where they're coming from. And I always am transparent and say, donors, we would like to hear from you. If you can invest in the Black Student Success Center, if you can provide funding, if you can amplify our work, we want to hear from you. Join our ecosystem, because without that collective and partnered approach to this work, it's a lot tougher to do. And so we are so grateful for the partners that are coming together. But I am even more thrilled for those who we've not connected with. And this is an open call to engage with us, to let us know how you want to commit and support our work, and we'll be more than happy to engage in a conversation. We've, completed one of our first semesters. So we launched in September 2021, and this is the second semester of getting to know students and working closely with them, hearing their thoughts and finding that their excitement about BSSC is contagious. They're happy to have a dedicated space, a dedicated support system that's going to champion their success. We're going to engage partners on their behalf and refer them to the services that we know that they need, both internal and external to McMaster. Also working with our community partners and groups, if we know that they're safe for our students, and that they hold opportunities that can really empower and build opportunities for our students. Our core pillars, it's important to know that that we're student-centered. We're working very closely with students to develop our programming and services, building community. When you build community, when you see people that look like you, when you regularly come together, with Black representation, but also diverse allies, it reduces that feeling of being alone. So that's why one of our priorities is increasing the amount of representation that our students see. This is why it's important to engage with businesses, with organizations, with mentors globally. And also thirdly, that we're going to embrace all expressions of Blackness. As we always say, that we're not a monolith. Black doesn't look one way. We're so diverse, and it's just so beautiful to see the different expressions that we want students to know that we're going to honor that. And I think lastly, important to mention that This work is only done together in partnership as a group, in collaboration. Connect, engage with us, and let us know how you see yourself as part of that vision. Because we're all in this together in terms of brokering internship opportunities, mentorship opportunities, employment opportunities. Student joins McMaster they embark on self-discovery, getting to know themselves, who they are, what they want. Very often their visions change the more they discover who they are. And that self-discovery is so important. We need to expose them to as much as possible. Opportunities to volunteer, get involved as part of that self-discovery, because I want them to get excited about their skills, their talents, their gifts, what they're capable of achieving. And so I say, connect with us, engage with us, share your opportunities, because we want students to have all of that, so that they have a great university experience. And then when they come out the other side, they're ready to get plugged in, connected, to build their community. They're so very often eager, right, to get involved in some shape or form, because they are such an amazing group filled with this eagerness and keenness to contribute to society. And so we need to provide them as much opportunities as possible so that they can do that. And I don't need them distracted thinking about, systemic barriers and hindrances. No, let's fight the system on their behalf so that they can be all of the things that they should be, so that they can contribute and give back, whether it's because they're employed or because they're traveling the world, or because they're volunteering, because they're on boards. Let them focus on giving back and contributing. And we remove the barriers. We work on those systemic change and provide just the ample opportunity for them to have this vibrant, thriving opportunity and experiences. And that is why BSSC exists. To provide those opportunities, but to serve them and to serve them well.